Having clear expectations and staying 2 steps ahead of your students. Having clear expectations and consistent classroom routines contribute to providing a safe, nurturing, and positive learning environment. It is important that it is not only important to establish clear expectations but to also teach them to your students and ensure that your students practice those expectations. By setting clear expectations, students will have a better understanding of what is expected of them in the classroom. It's important to communicate these expectations in a positive and approachable manner. Consistently reinforce them throughout the year. Doing so will provide your students with structure and a sense of predictability, which will ultimately help them feel more secure and less anxious. Ensuring that your students practice the expectations you have set is critical. Practice makes perfect, as the saying goes. It's important to provide students with consistent feedback on how well they are doing and what they can do to improve. Here are some common expectations. 1. Be respectful to your teachers and fellow students. 2. Come to class prepared and on time. 3. Raise your hand before speaking or asking a question. 4. Follow instructions given by your teacher. 5. Keep your personal items and space clean and organized. Remember that you need to spend significant time teaching why these expectations are important and providing lots of practice. Also, consider having one statement that communicates all rules or expectations, such as, "I can take care of myself," or "I am helpful classroom citizen," or similar. That way, you can teach each more specific expectation or rule in that context. You could explain, "When you are respectful to me and others, that is a great way to show that you can take care of yourself." When students slip, and they will, you can remind them to take care of themselves. Hopefully they will think through their action and self-correct. Ultimately, the goal is to have students self-regulate their behavior. One of the most crucial aspects of being a successful teacher is being 2 or 3 steps ahead of your students. Anticipating student misbehaviors and knowing what could happen next are key factors that can help you plan how to handle those situations in advance. Think about a scenario where a student starts to become disengaged and starts distracting other students. As a teacher, you can see the behavior escalating before it turns into something more disruptive. By being proactive and thinking ahead, you can redirect that student's behavior before it becomes a distraction. Another example of the importance of being ahead of your students is preparing for different learning styles and abilities. By understanding this, teachers can prepare themselves with strategies and techniques that accommodate for those unique learning needs and potentially avoid discipline problems. Setting clear expectations and ensuring students practice those expectations are crucial elements of effective classroom management. And remember to always stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of your students when possible. Classroom routines. Establishing routines is also key to a successful classroom. Routines help students know what to expect, which makes them feel more comfortable and confident in the classroom. Routines can include things like morning meetings, designated transition times, and consistent class schedules. Routines not only help manage the classroom, but they also make it easier for students to focus on their learning and become more self-directed. When thinking about what classroom routines you may want to have in your room, here are some questions to consider. How will you get students' attention? What signals will students use to get your attention? Where will students store their personal items? What about phones? How will students transition from one activity to another? What about going to the restroom, getting a drink of water, or sharpening a pencil? What do students do when they finish assignments early? How do you handle tardies or early dismissals? Take a few moments, and stop this video if you need to talk with your colleagues some procedures for the following situations. Entering/exiting the classroom. Attendance/absence/tardy procedures. Lunch and/or recess. Transitions and moving in the classroom. Getting a drink of water or using the restroom. Dismissal. Do now/entry task. Finishing work early. Independent work time, and asking for help. Organization of personal stuff. Use of classroom materials. Use of technology, laptop, tablet, cell phone. Pencil sharpening. Getting supplies. Handing out papers. Assigning other classroom jobs. Labeling papers and assignments, such as name, number, date, and assignment. Hallway protocol. Basic steps you will take to improve behavior, such as eye contact, reminders, warnings, consequences. Once you have the routines, don't forget that students will need many opportunities to practice with lots of positive feedback to make these routines routine. Establishing consistent routines and ensuring students practice those routines are crucial elements of effective classroom management. By implementing these strategies in your classroom, you will create a positive, supportive learning environment where your students can thrive. So, take some time to think about how you can implement these or other routines in your classroom and see the difference it makes.